Hey guys, it's Fat Mr. Wizard here on Team Jawin coming at you with a sequel to last year's Rogue Dex you could top with. Now, the format has changed a bit, obviously. New cards have been released, Megatons are coming out, Dual Devastators on the horizon. We just got Fist of the Gadgets, and with that, a lot of new strategies and things have become viable. So these are not going to be in any particular order, but these are just some ideas that you could top your regionals with and try to get your invites with. And these are also rogue decks, so not meta. So most of these decks, outside of one or two cards, should be able to be built pretty budgetly. So there won't be any high-end rogue decks on here. So without further ado, let's start with the first deck on the list is Subterror's variants. With the recent reprinting of this in Fist of the Gadgets, it has become a lot more budget to build Subterrors now, pure or otherwise. Now, obviously, Pot of Extravagance is still really expensive, but there are probably some techs you can play in place of that. But the main basis of Guru Control is pretty budget at this point. Most of the hand traps have been reprinted outside of Impermanence, which yet again, you could sub with Valor. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think someone could top with a Subterror deck of some sort, whether it be Guru Control or Pure. But with the reprinting of Hidden City, the deck has become a lot more budget. And one of its worst matchups did get a little hit on the ban list, in my opinion, which was Salads. I hated that matchup with Subterrors with Salad matchups. So, but it is what it is. Another neat idea deck to maybe top regionals with would be Dinosaurs. They're still pretty much near full power. They have 3 Miscellaneous Saurus, they still have 3 Soul Eating Overraptors, 3 Dig, 3 of everything. And there are so many variants of dinos out there that can be played. We have Pure, we have Lost World, we have Rocket, we have Shaddoll, we have Orcust. There are just so many variants of dinos you can play. Now, I will admit, like I said, a lot of those variants, some of those variants can break the $100 limit because of Soul Eating Overraptors buyout recently. But if you have the Soul Eating Overraptors already, or can get them, the rest of the deck is pretty much budget for the most part, depending on which variant you decide to play. So that's another idea. Another idea, and I think this is highly underestimated, the format, would be True Draco. That is another card, or deck, that just got its most expensive card reprinted with Ignis in Fist of the Gadgets as well. So the base core of the set is pretty cheap now. They also reprint all 3 of the main deck monsters too, so even if, they only reprint Ignis and then people decide to buy out Dynamite Fighter, well, no, they're not buying it out now because they reprinted him too as a super rare. So that deck is pretty budget, and the most expensive card in the deck for competitive play reasons would be your Impermanences if you decide to play them, and Card of Demise and Draconic Diagrams are a little pricey. But for the most part, the deck's pretty much budget, and a lot of the floodgates the deck needs have been reprinted, like Imperial Iron Wall, or not Imperial Iron Wall, my bad, Imperial Order. Summon Limit has got reprinted recently. Monarch's Erupt is a little expensive, but yet again, with the reprinting of Ignis, that gives you a little more room to breathe to pick those up. And I do believe the commons are still floating $4 to $5 a piece, so it is definitely doable. Another deck this format I think will do well, and this is specifically because of Battles of Legend and with the reprinting of Traptrix in the Megatons, would be, I think Traptrix can do something. Now, the problem with that deck, as my friend has learned, is you do have to go first with that deck. But I think if you tweaked it with something else besides the Traptrix engine, now you won't be able to do like Hat or anything like that, but if you could supplement that Traptrix engine with something else, I think it could be a contender. Obviously, with Twin Twisters and all this, combo decks are going to be hit a little bit. So, and the beautiful thing about Traptrix decks is they are, for the most part, unaffected by both all the hand traps in this set. They're really not affected by Dimension Shifter. They're really not affected by the Nibiru. The only thing that could truly affect him would maybe be the Dark Ruler No More, but it's like that wouldn't really do much to them. That really just stops Sarah and maybe Rafflesia, and not going to do much to the back row they already have set. So I think that's a little neat deck that can top. Another one I think could top, which with the bringing back a Shred 2 in it, despite the controversy with him with activating a card that prevented him from drawing again and then activating Valkyris, I think Necrons are a pretty decent rogue deck this format. They still have Unicorn, which is a blowout if Thunder Dragons can't get rid of it. It is still a blowout against Orcust if, like I said, yet again, they can't get rid of it. If they get rid of it, they might have a little bit of issues, but if you're playing Necrons, you shouldn't be leaving a Unicorn alone by itself on the field anyways. Also, with the fact that you have Mobius, the Mega or not Mobius, you have Zaborg, the Mega Monarch, to destroy the extra deck. You have the Vandy's Ruler combo with Benton to basically turn it into a lockdown deck. And with the Incantation engine, there is just so much potential with that deck to summon a whole bunch of Floodgate monsters. End of Anubis, Majesty's Fiend. Now be careful, that can backfire on you. Vandy's Fiend. If you set up a board first, you could probably even go spell cancel if you're really careful. Genzo, the potential of that deck is just endless. So I would say that is a good one on this list for our rogue decks that can top. Let's see here. I think certain rocket variants with a Guard Dragon engine could do well. Now, there are obviously some expensive pieces in there, things like Boral Sword and stuff like that. Obviously, don't get me wrong. He is being printed in the Megatins, but he's still holding a $20 value. But a lot of the other key pieces like Hot Red Dragon, Archery and Abyss, the Guard Dragon package themselves, things like that aren't horribly expensive right now. I think the most expensive thing in the deck right now is World Legacy Guard Dragon, the spell, and Boral Sword itself, and Saryuya. But I think if you tweaked it around a bit, you could still do pretty well with it. Now, there's a potential it could go just a little over 100, because like I said, those 3 cards are needed for the deck. Unfortunately, Boral Sword is needed, as is Saryuya, and at least 2 World Legacy Guard Dragons. But with the reprinting, a lot of the combo pieces in the extra deck as commons or as Indupo does give the deck a lot of life. Another deck that, yet again, I wouldn't consider this rogue, unfortunately now. I originally had Altergeist on my list, but they're not really proving themselves rogue anymore. I'm kind of shocked with the limiting a multi-figure. They end up getting better, go figure. But I'll just leave them on here just for the sake. Altergeist are not a bad deck. I mean, they did lose 2 multi-figure, but you know what? They got the Sangan All-Mirage combo. And one of their worst matchups in Sky Strikers slowed down quite a bit. So, yeah. Another deck I think could do well this format. Maybe, someone could try a Cosmo variant. I think with 3 Dark Destroyers and a lot of matchups still not having a way to deal with that. Sky Strikers still don't have a way to deal with that. Orcust, I don't think have one. I'm not sure if Dingears who targets. If he doesn't, then yeah, that would be a bad matchup for Cosmos, but they still have Cosmojo. Demise is still at 3 for Cosmo variants. Artifact Engine. There's just Storm Dragon's Return is a really good trap for the deck. So yeah. Let me think here. What's other decks that could be good this format? Maybe PK Fire. I mean, they did just lose. Well, no, they did just lose Bardache. Like I said, this was thought up on the whim. Let's see, what else here? Covered all the big ones, I think. Monarchs, that was another one. Monarchs are a really decent one, too, with the bringing back of Ether to 2. Pantheism's still limited, but you now have 2 Ether, which makes it more consistent to see. You still have some of the most powerful floodgates in that deck, with Monarchs Erupt, Domain of the True Monarchs, all these really dangerous cards, including, I think, the new spell. It's not new spell. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was like Monarch's Lightning or something like that. Was really good. So the deck does have some options there, and it could summon, yet again, just like Necros, monster floodgates like there are no tomorrow. Ending on a board with a Vandy's backed by a Monarch's Erupt, that is really dangerous if your opponent cannot break it. So that was another one I had on my list. Let's see. I got Rockets. Trying to think here. Tenyu builds are another good one. Most of their components are cheap for the most part. I think their most expensive component is actually a rare. Obviously, you'd have to find the normal engine to go with it, but for the most part, it's really not that bad of a deck. It does have some neat creativity behind it. I like where people are going with it, but I guess we'll just have to see where the meta takes it. So that's another one. And no, I did not consider Grand Marzu Golden Castle a viable rogue. I think people got caught off guard with that, so that's not on the list. Trying to think what else I would put on the list as rogue that's somewhat budget. I can't put Fire Fist, unfortunately, because of the short printing they did there. That would have definitely been on this list had it not been for the fact that you need, not for my variant that I'm hopefully going to post here soon, but for meta variants or quote-unquote competitive variants, you need 3 pandas, 3 elephants, and 2 eagles, and those alone break the $100 limit, not including everything else like your dragon, which those alone break the budget. So yeah, no. I will say that as a good rogue option in general, if you can make the money to buy it. But at that point, if you're willing to shell $200-300 on Fire Fist, I'd probably just invest in Thunder Dragons, which have pretty much been reprinted in the Megatins. And at that point, your only expensive card is pretty much Chaos Dragon Legionnaire and a Saryuya. That just seems a hell of a lot cheaper and a lot more competitively viable than Fire Fist, as much as I love the deck. So, let's see. We have Dinos. I feel like we got a link here recently that would help them. Gladiator Beast will get some decent support here soon. That may not be a bad one either. But not till they get the new support. Before they get the new support, they're not going to really do much. Trying to think if there's anything else I can think of. I think Mech Knight and... oh, that's another one. Mech Knight and Invoked engine-based decks could do really well. You just got to be really careful of Thunder Dragons this format. That, Salads, and apparently, obviously, no surprise, Sky Strikers. So yeah, those are just some ideas you can top with. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be just as simple as copying someone's deck list. You're going to have to put your own thought, your own process into your text, your ideas. And if you can't afford a certain card, find a decent replacement for it. Like, for example, I have a pure Sub-Terror deck build here. I cannot afford Extravagances right now. So I reconstructed it to be able to take advantage of Desires, which is a decent option. And my deck's not combo-oriented, so I can play with this. So, yeah, there are some options out there. ABCs was another one. I keep forgetting that. ABCs is not a bad one either. Yet again, all their components are still at 3. They still have one of the most deadly boss monsters in the game, and I think if someone took the time to edit the deck a little bit, they could turn it from an OTK-based deck into a control-based deck. ABC is just waiting for someone to break it and make it a control deck, so I think that should be on the list. And now a lot of decks, now that the Nightmare Engine package should become budget with the release of the Megatins, that should help quite a bit. I would not hold for any danger variants on this budget rogue list because I still think despite the reprints, they will still be expensive. And that's if they don't hit them in October and outright murder your investment anyway. So I do believe that this format is more diverse. The only thing I don't care for is I don't think that the ban list diversified it enough. I think we're basically still playing the same format. Sky Strikers are just more of a glass cannon. Thunder Dragons have to play a little more pure. And Orcas just make even more ridiculous boards. And Salads just became no longer budget friendly. I so wish they hadn't hit Circle or Salads would have been on this list. But that'll do it for me. Those are just some ideas you can top with. If you're trying to think of a competitive viable rogue deck that's not too horribly expensive. We plan to have some deck profiles up later this week. I plan on putting a couple more discussions of my own on here. And we will hope to see you guys at the Indy Regional on October 5th. And hope to see you at Columbus on October 13th. This is Fat Mystic Wizard. Peace and have a good evening.